Hello everyone, good morning. We have already seen part 1 of class 8 science chapter number 3 microorganisms. The same chapter has been given as microorganisms friend and foe in chapter number 2 in NCERT book. Today we will start part 2 of this chapter. Bacteria. About bacteria, it is told that they are the simplest of the organisms and believed to be the first living beings to have appeared on earth. In 1677, Anton van Leeuwenhoek he observed bacteria for the first time. These bacteria they are unicellular, but sometimes they live together in colonies. So here question has been asked, what do people do when they want to make yogurt, that means curd, dahi? They add a spoonful of yogurt to a bowl of warm milk and cover the bowl. And the spoonful of yogurt has got millions and millions of bacteria. They grow and multiply in that warm condition and they produce an enzyme that converts the milk into sour milk, the curd, or the yogurt. Now we are told to do an activity. We are told that take some yogurt, put a drop of one or two yogurt on a slide and stain it with safranin and cover it over a cover slip and observe under the high microscope. What we will find? We will find there is a lactobacillus bacteria in that. Lactobacilli, or we call lactobacillus bacteria, that is responsible for the conversion of milk into curd. We are told to do another activity. We will take small pieces of raw potato or a few grains of cooked rice in a cup or a test tube of water. We will cover that cup or a test tube with cotton and then we will leave it for a few days. After a few days, we will take out a drop from inside that, put over a slide and cover it and then observe it under the microscope. What we will observe, we will find some bacteria that is spoiling the food. On the basis of shape and structure, bacteria are of four different forms. We can say bacilli or singular bacillus. This is the rod shaped bacteria. Next we have got spherical bacteria, we call the cocci, singular coccus, that is pneumonia, that causes pneumonia, streptococcus pneumoniae. Then we have spiral bacteria, singular is spirillum, and the fourth type is the comma shaped bacteria called the vibrios. Whatever may be the shape, the most bacteria have got hard cell wall. The thing common to all the bacteria cells is that they do not have a nucleus. The nuclear material which is enclosed inside a nucleus in we human beings are not found in the bacteria. Many bacteria have flagella or the cilia that help them to move, and some have thin outgrowths called the fimbriae, singular fimbria. Next, now we have nutrition. Few bacteria can make their own food by a process similar to photosynthesis, but most of them they are parasitic or saprophytic. Saprophytic bacteria are very useful because they break down dead plants and animals. They even decompose the fishes or the other waste materials. Feces means the excreta materia, the latrine secreted out by the animals or the human being. They are decomposed by these saprophytic bacteria. And so some bacteria they grow in the presence of oxygen, then they are called aerobic bacteria, and those that grow in the absence of oxygen they are called anaerobic bacteria. Many live harmlessly in our body, in our intestine, and many of them are harmful to us. Some bacteria they live in the root nodules of some of the plants. We call them as the rhizobium bacteria. Next we will study about the growth and reproduction. So bacteria grow and multiply very fast under favorable conditions, and they increase in number in a great speed. Single bacterium can produce millions and millions of bacteria in a day, and under unfavorable condition some bacteria form spores or cysts. A single bacterium can reproduce millions of bacteria in a day. Single bacterium can produce millions of bacteria in a day, and under favorable condition. What does under favorable condition mean? That means it will get suitable temperature range of 30 to 37 degrees Celsius, plenty of food, and a moist environment. Then this will be able to produce millions and millions of bacteria. But when it gets unfavorable condition, when the condition is not favorable, then the bacteria produces or it forms a spore or cyst, a protective coating, and then it protects itself. Bacteria reproduces by binary fission, and binary fission means breaking into two, and binary means two. So binary fission means the cell will divide into two. So a bacteria cell divide into two, those two cells divide into four, four into 8, and like that they multiply at a very fast rate. Now we will see about the useful bacteria. Some bacteria are used to make alcohol and vinegar, while some others, as we saw, lactobacillus bacteria, they are used to make curd, yogurt, cheese from the milk. And it is done, the making of alcohol and vinegar is done by the process of fermentation. About detail in fermentation we will study in upper classes. Some bacteria are also used in the production of tea, coffee and tobacco. Then what we have, some of the bacteria produces antibiotics, and the antibiotics are used in the treatment of infectious diseases. Some bacteria they are used in the tanning or processing of leather. Some bacteria are used in jute industry. These bacteria they act on raw jute plant, which is immersed in water and helps in the process of making fiber from the plant. Those bacteria that live in the intestine of the human being help in the absorption of food and protect us from some diseases. Herbivorous animals depend on bacteria living in their stomach to break down the cellulose they have eaten in their food. And as I told you earlier, bacteria they are the natural decomposers, and they decompose the human excreta of other animals, remains of plants and animals. So these bacteria, they help in the cleaning of the environment. These bacteria, they are also used to make biogas plant and compost from the waste. And in chapter number 1, we have already studied about the nitrogen fixing bacteria, that is the rhizobium, how it converts the atmospheric nitrogen into nitrates and nitrites, which are used by the plants. But all the bacteria, they are not useful. Some of them are harmful also. So now let us study about the harmful bacteria. Many plant and animal diseases are caused by these bacteria. How do they cause disease? They destroy the living tissue by producing poisonous substances called toxins. Typhoid, cholera, pneumonia, tetanus, tuberculosis, leprosy, whooping cough, all these are the diseases that are caused to human being by bacteria. Wilt and citrus cancer are bacterial diseases that are caused in the plants. If bacteria are used to process food, they are also responsible for spoiling of the food. If we don't boil the milk, we don't keep it in a proper temperature condition, what happens? The milk turns sour and the butter turns rancid because the action of this bacteria. This bacteria also spoil our meat, fish, vegetable and fruits. Clostridium botulinum, which grows in a badly preserved canned food, causes very dangerous kind of food poisoning that we call it as the botulism. Here you can see it has been given botulism. There is a food type, a dangerous kind of food poisoning. Now we will start next part, fungi. Fungi, singular is fungus. These are group of plant-like organisms which do not have chlorophyll. These are present everywhere, from desert to very cold regions, but they grow best in dark, warm and moist places. Fungi are different sizes. Some are unicellular and some are multicellular. Fungi are not having roots, stems, leaves or flowers, and they do not contain chlorophyll, so they are either saprophytic or parasitic. There are some 70,000 types of fungi, some unicellular and some multicellular. Yeast, molds and mushrooms are fungi. Mildew grows on the damp clothes. Leather and wood. Rust and smuts are fungi that causes disease in plants. Now we will study about yeast. This is unicellular fungus, well known for its ability to turn sugar into alcohol, and the process is known as fermentation. It reproduces by budding and can live both aerobically and anaerobically. We are told to do an experiment to understand about the yeast. We are told to mix a half cup of flour, that is atta, 2 spoonfuls of sugar and a tablespoonful of dry yeast. We will make a paste of dough by adding warm water. We will put the dough in a jar, cover the jar and leave it in warm place for few hours. What we will observe? We will observe that the dough rises and looks bubbly. That means you can see here how it appears in this diagram. It was closed in this way and kept. Now see it is. This is how they are used for the purpose of making cake, paroti, that is we call bread. No? That sugar, when it undergoes fermentation by the help of the yeast, it produces alcohol and carbon dioxide. So we say that the yeast breaks down the sugar in the dough to get energy, and carbon dioxide and alcohol are produced. That carbon dioxide tries to escape out, and when it tries to escape out, it rises the dough and it looks bubbly. If we want to verify whether the gas produced is carbon dioxide or not, we will do this activity. We will take in this test tube yeast, sugar, warm water, and take a rubber cork. In that we will place a delivery tube of the U-shaped as shown in the diagram, and insert it in another test tube having freshly prepared lime water through a hole in the cork. After few hours, what we will see, the color of this lime water has turned milky, indicating that the gas produced here was no other gas but carbon dioxide gas, because carbon dioxide gas only turns lime water milky. Now we will study about molds. These are a group of multicellular fungi, and the greyish fuzzy growth on the stale food and the bluish growth on the rotting oranges are these molds. If we will look very carefully, the bread, green colored something patches we see developing on the bread, that is bread mold. Rhizopus fungus, that is it is the mold, bread mold, and they have thread like structure. The tangent mass is called the mycelium, plural is mycelia, and the thread like structures are called the hyphae, singular is hypa. Molds grow in starchy food, fruit, milk products, jams, pickles, moist grains, pulses, and even on damp leather. Now we are told to perform an activity. Now we are told to do an activity. We are told to take a slice of bread and weight it and put it on a petri dish. We will leave it unexposed for a while and then cover it in a warm place for 2 days. After 2 days, we are told to check it whether something greenish type, blackish type is growing on it or not. If we will not find, we will wait for 1 or 2 days, and then after 1 or 2 days again, when we will observe it under the microscope, what we will find that something has grown. You can see in the diagram as it is shown on the screen like this. What are these? These are bread molds. See here, it has been shown here that in the stale food, bread, roti, that we have like this structure develops, and that is nothing but is what it is. It is the bread mold. Next we will study about the useful fungi. Some mushrooms, they are edible. Yeast can be dried and stored for a long time, and it is used in the bakery products as I told you earlier while making bread, cake, etc. Idli and dosa are also made with fermented paste of rice and dal. Yeast is even used to ferment fruit juices, molasses, malt and barley for manufacturing wine, beer and other alcoholic drinks. It is also used in the preparation of B-complex vitamins. Molds, they are used to flavor processed cheese, penicillin and some other antibiotics. They are made from molds. Fungi are among nature's decomposers because they help in decomposing the remaining plants and animals' dead and decaying organic matter, and thus helps in cleaning the environment. But all of them are not useful. Some of them are harmful also. As we saw, the bread got spoiled. How? because some harmful fungi are there. They spoil not only bread, roti, other things, uncooked cooked material, but they also destroy leather goods, clothes, furniture during monsoon season mainly. And when these fungi develop on the plant's body, like in rice, rust, smut, wilt, blight, all these cause disease to them. They can fully damage that season's crop. And fungi causes infectious diseases to us also, like the ringworm on the scalp. You can see here this disease. It is all because of fungi. You must have seen athlete's foot, barber's itching hand, dhobi's itching hand. All these are because of fungal infection. In Hindi we say pokai lag jana. This is because of this fungi. Those who remain in more water places, between their toes, between the fingers of their leg, this infection occurs, that we call pokai in Hindi. That is athlete's foot also we say in English. That is all because of this fungi. Next, now we will study about the protozoans. What is a protozoa? Or what are protozoa? Protozoa are unicellular organisms. These are unicellular organisms. They can move from one place to another. They vary in shape and form very simple to complex structure. Some protozoa live in fresh or salt water and some live in soil. So if you take a drop of water from a pond and observe it under a microscope, you will find some protozoa in that. Some of the protozoa, like the Iglina, they have the flagellum to move. This Paramecium, they have cilia to move for locomotion. And this amoeba, they have false foot or the pseudopodia for engulfing the food material. So what we will see, that protozoa are also of different kinds. Mainly we have here, we can study in our book here given about the amoeba, about the Paramecium, about the Plasmodium, about the Iglina. We are going to study. They are traditionally looked upon as animals, because most protozoa, they are animal like, they look like animal. And it is told that protozoa in fact means the first animal. Even protozoa like Iglina, which contains chlorophyll and can photosynthesize, lack a cell wall. The others are saprophytic or parasitic. That means they remain on the dead and the decaying matter. Protozoa, they are a link in the food chain between unicellular algae and some aquatic organisms. That means, in another word, what we will say, that the protozoa, they eat the algae and they are themselves eaten by small fishes and other small organisms. So how do these amoeba or Paramecium, Iglina, Plasmodium, they all reproduce? They reproduce by the process of binary fission. As I told you earlier, binary fission means a breaking of one organism into two, one cell into two. So we are given here about the amoeba, that the amoeba, when it sees a food, then it develops false feet, and this false feet moves towards the food, and then what happens, slowly it touches, gets closed, attached to one another, and the food is inside the amoeba. And this false feet is known as pseudopodia, and then the food, when it is inside, now it will be known as food vacuole. In the same way, in the similar way, it gives out its waste material also. It is made of a single cell, so it doesn't have any organ. Through the same cell, it does all its life activities. So when it has to give out the waste material, it will bring the waste material near the body. Suppose this is the waste material, it will come out toward the wall, toward the exterior part, it will rupture and the waste material is thrown out. This amoeba, it is the simplest of the protozoa found in the soil, freshwater bodies. This paramecium, it is also another freshwater protozoa, but it is found in ditches, ponds, and the hair-like structure that we are able to see all around of its body, that is the cilia, and it helps this paramecium in swimming in water. And this cilia also helps to bring the food material closer to its mouth. Here is the mouth of this cilia. We call it the oral groove or the mouth. Next, I told you about the Plasmodium, that is also a protozoa. This causes the malaria in human beings. It is a live parasite, or you can say it lives as a parasite in two places, in the RBC, the red blood cell, and the liver of the man, and in the saliva and the stomach of the female Anopheles mosquito. That's why whenever the mosquito bites us, it is the female mosquito that bites us and causes malaria, because Plasmodium remains in the saliva and the stomach of the female Anopheles mosquito. Next part of this chapter we will see in the third video. Study nicely. Thank you.